Final hour OverDrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Carol Wagland. Big day in the city for a couple of different reasons. One, Rougned Odor was designated for assignment.
Yeah.
It's always big news in Toronto, right?
I mean, he had that one moment where he cold-cocked Jose Bautista. I think that's...
Like, I would say the biggest villain of the last decade in Toronto, close to it. Like, an individual player.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you think Marchand, you think...
Yeah, but that was big.
Corey Perry.
I would still say...
Odor was up there.
More so because he's not known for anything else. Like, that's it. Like, Marchand's a good player. Corey Perry's a good player. Like, they have other things on their resume. Like, Rougned Odor, he was decent with Texas for a little while, and he punched Jose Bautista and and landed a good one.
Like, it was a really good punch.
And like, Jose...
really got him.
It was like, could Jose... Oh, they were holding Jose back, but they were holding Jose up.
Yeah, the old, don't let me go here,
yeah.
But also, if I get loose, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows that play.
Because usually you don't see that in baseball. It's like NBA. It's like a slop fight. There's
nothing actually happens.
The bullpens come in, but nothing, everyone stands there. And
that's what was shocking about it. Was like Odor, it was kind of a wild slide. Like, I don't think his cleats were up, but he... But
you knew right before that happened, something was going down. Like, the tension was there.
You could feel it. It had been bubbling over since Game 5 and really throughout the ALDS the year before. And, like, because they had issues with Baltimore a lot, too, in that same era, right? Like, those were the two teams. It was Baltimore and Texas.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Yankees. It wasn't Boston. It was Baltimore and Texas. Like, that was the bad blood kind of duo for the Jays in the Bautista, Edwin, Donaldson era.
Yeah, and it just unleashed because remember right after Odor popped him, the bench is cleared. Josh Donaldson came flying off the top ropes like Macho Man. And I remember I had an interview with him not even a few days later, and he had a shiner. And the whole thing was, you can't ask him about it.
Oh, really? So someone had hit him.
He was promoting this. Because they had a few dust-ups that year, did they not? They had another dust-up.
Yeah, yeah.
It was right after one of the dust-ups. He had a shiner, and he was promoting a video game. He was on the cover of one of the MLB show or one of these games. And the whole thing was, only ask him about the game. You cannot ask him about the black eye. And it's just staring you in the face, this whole interview. But you can't...
I don't remember him getting popped, though. Is that what happened?
No, it might have been... He came over the top and was like just throwing haymakers. It might have been another dust-up that he got one in the face. Because he took one at some point that season.
Okay.
Yeah, it was... they were a feisty squad, man.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were a fun team. We were talking statues. We were talking jersey retirements. Like, Bautista's number is going to be retired.
Yeah. See, I could see the bat flip. I'm big... Okay, I understand the statues for individual players and what they've done for a team. I am more in favor of enshrining big moments in the franchise history. I would much rather, does Jose Bautista as a player deserve a statue for the Jays? Maybe not, but that bat flip moment does. And so I would almost rather enshrine a moment.
You would be big on moments. So like Kawhi, like the shot against Philly. The thing is, neither of those are in the championship series.
It's okay, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I think so. If it's that big of a moment in the franchise's history.
Like, obviously, Joe Carter's got to go first, but would it be Carter, like, jumping in the air in Atlanta in 92, or is it him hitting the home run?
I think it would be touch 'em all, Joe.
So the second World Series. Meanwhile, the first one was bigger because it was the first one.
Sure, but then you go back-to-back. Like, it's... For me, I think...
So you're going to double down with Joe Carter.
Yeah, I think it's the home run for Joe.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest moment in franchise.
Because he's just catching the ball for the out.
Right, but that's the first one. Like, you can't downplay the final out.
The final out in the World Series.
Yeah.
But I think when you talk about those back-to-back Jays World Series teams, the moment that everyone immediately comes to mind is touch 'em all.
Yes, I think you're right as time goes on.
I would argue that's a bigger moment.
It's definitely a more memorable moment, like because of the nature of it, and it was at home. Like the fact that it was at the Sky Dome and it's Game 6 and he hits a home run and like a walk-off home run to win a World Series. It's happened twice in history, and obviously that is an incredible moment and one that people will always remember. But what I'm saying is like the build-up, you're right, because...
The build-up is bigger.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like when the moment is bigger, like the Raptors could have beaten Philly, but to beat them in the fashion that they did creates this huge moment. And that's why I'm saying I'm more on board with enshrining those massive moments rather than just an accomplishment or a great career.
Well, the moments are what got the fans connected. right? And what the fans remain connected to for the rest of their lives.
Sure. When people talk about things, I still have conversations with people where they're like, where were you when the bat flip happened? And you can remember exactly where you were watching the game and what the circumstances
It's the ultimate like water cooler conversation, an icebreaker. And that'd be a good list to compile, like where the moments in Toronto history.
Nick Taylor, 72 feet 6 inches.
Does that count as a Toronto? Is that Toronto because it was at Oakdale? I mean, that's more of a
Canadian moment.
Yeah.
But I would say, like,
but that's different,
in absence of it being provincial.
Yeah. Like you got the Golden Goal, you got the Summit Series. I mean, those are more on a national level as opposed to Toronto taking it for itself. I don't know. Like, what would the Leafs' big moment be?
Ooh. Like the fact that there's that long of a pause tells us where we are.
Yeah.
Right now with Leaf Station. That's not good. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm struggling to. I mean, Gilmore game 1 against St. Louis. Wendell, like there were great moments in the 90s. There were great moments in the late 90s and early 2000s. Like there were great moments, but like the moment that is the equivalent of a bat flip or the shot by Kawhi, I don't think so.
No. It's tough to
encapsulate them. Memory.
It's tough to get a moment like that where something that electric happens in a big moment, like a big game moment that matters.
Yeah.
Too.
Like Tavares OT winner against Tampa, but that's not the same.
No, it's not.
It's not on the same level. All right, Scott Mitchell from the Park, Jays Padres later this hour. Alek Manoah starting in Toronto for the first time in well over a month. Get to our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. But here's our mutual buddy, biker guy, Luke Willson. What's happening, Luke?
How we living? How we doing?
What's up, buddy?
Biker guy, man. How the wheels treating you?
You know what? I wish I was a little quicker, but it's been fun. I'm kind of slowly but surely withering away. So that's a bit awkward. All my old teammates make fun of me now when they see me because I'm a little smaller than I used to be. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's been good. You know, I'm enjoying summertime.
As you should, man. And you're not a running back, so you don't have to worry about being in the poorhouse, right? Like everyone's freaking out about the running backs in the National Football League because they're all getting franchise tagged. And I saw a report online that some of the elite backs in football, they're all in a group chat, and they all decided that if, Pollard and Jacobs and Saquon were all going to be franchise tagged, they'd all collectively jump online and tweet about it, as if that's really going to change the tide of things. But where do you stand on this, man? Like the running back, it's such a premium position. It has been historically, yet it's clearly getting pushed out in terms of long-term deals and big guaranteed money.
Yeah, I think there's two sides of this, Hayes, which I am definitely on the running back side of things. But the first side is the game, although they're making it, safer in a lot of ways, because of just the off seasons, the training, whatever you want to call it, the equipment, I do think that for certain positions, running back being one of them, it's still a very, very violent game. So it's hard to keep these guys super healthy. Out of every position on the field, I would say that they run one of, if not the biggest risk, to not only be healthy, but be fresh for the whole season. So that's it definitely plays into some of the GM's minds. But I think the bigger issue here, which I learned kind of early in my career, is that the NFL is a copycat league. And what I mean by that is if a team wins, it's like the rest of the league decides to just do whatever they're doing. And it got strange at points of my time because when we won my rookie year, not only was it like, okay, teams are now doing what we do on offense, and we had a middle-of-the-road offense, but now all of a sudden you started seeing, okay, Seattle's defense, we'd go into games like this. These guys are trying to be us. They're like a Walmart version of our Legion of Boom. And what was weird about it to me, and even coaches, okay, all of a sudden it was like Gus Bradley had just left the year before I got there. Dan Quinn was now the head coach in Atlanta. Robert Saleh was a D-line coach. He was on his way up. So what I'm alluding to is you look at the last few Super Bowls, and the winner last year obviously was Kansas City, not known for their run game. You look at the year Tom Brady won it, not known for Tampa Bay, definitely not known for their run game. So I think that a lot of these GMs, executives, they're just like, hey, I don't want to be the guy who says, let's pay a running back a crazy amount of money. We don't win the Super Bowl. We have all this money tied up in a running back, and we keep saying to ourselves, why aren't we winning? And then the thought is, we're not winning because we don't have a Patrick Mahomes. We didn't invest our money like the Chiefs did. And now all of a sudden, you're on the chopping block because you're the guy who suggested we pay the running back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little strange. I do think we'll see a swing back, though, to the running back because it is just such a wildly important position for a variety of reasons.
I mean, you keep hearing when a team falters, or like we look at the Buffalo Bills last year, and the first thing everyone points to is they don't have a running game. They need to establish the running game to be able to have that kind of threat and to help their pass catchers and whatnot. I mean, I feel like the running backs, I just feel bad for them. But maybe this is an indication of how the franchise tag as a whole needs to change. I was reading something on Twitter earlier from Spotrac, and they were talking about maybe there needs to be an offensive weapon franchise tag for all pass catchers, rushers, anyone all under that level, because it kind of helped the linebackers. Like off-ball linebackers were helped out when that franchise tag changed. So would that be a better way of maybe encapsulating them, and then you can set that franchise tag floor, and that would help running backs as a whole?
I think that's definitely a good suggestion, Kara. But again, I think it's just a bit of a weird ordeal. And I really think that all it's going to take is one GM to kind of stray from, what is the norm right now and be like, this guy is so important to us. And I think the guy to do it would be, Dallas and Jerry Jones and that whole cast of characters, if you will, with Pollard. And the reason being is, you look at that team last year, and I'm not trying to throw a bunch of shade on Dak, but it's like you take out the two-headed monster in Pollard and Zeke, and, you let that offense rely simply on Dak Prescott. I think it's going to be a very, very long, tough season for that offense. I think that Prescott is a very good quarterback that plays well when he has a great, great run game. I mean, can he have games where he slings it 45 times, puts up 300-plus yards and, a couple TDs? Sure, but that's not what you're going to want to rely on. So I think that somebody will finally kind of set the standard, okay, I'm signing my guy to a 4-year big-ticket deal, and then all of a sudden you'll see everybody else and then trickle in before, maybe we get such a drastic move right now with the franchise tag and the CBA. But again, it is very strange. And it's a strange ordeal for me because the years we were really successful in Seattle and the year we won, the offense went through Marshawn Lynch. So it was like we come in on Wednesdays and be like, okay, how are we going to get Marshawn, rolling this game? And if he did, which normally he did, get rolling, like we would win games with the combination of having the best defense in the league. Let's make sure that's very clear. Mm-hmm. So I do think that, and Kara, you made a great point where it's like you look at Buffalo and that's a perfect example of like if they can get a run game, that offense would be unstoppable in my opinion. And I think this might be even a stranger take, but like with Patrick Mahomes, he's almost hurting the running back because these people think like, oh, we need that. We need, they've been to 3 Super Bowls in a row. They've won 2, et cetera. And it's like that to me is not, normal. Patrick Mahomes is operating right now at a level that is just very different than every other player in the NFL, regardless of position. So to me, I would look at a team like Buffalo and really try and model like, hey, this is a successful team. Yes, they've had some issues in the playoffs, but if I'm a middle-of-the-road team that doesn't have the talent of Patrick Mahomes, I'm taking Buffalo as a model and kind of being like, how do we build a team similar to this or better? And like you said, I think if they have a run game, that offense is right there as the best in the league.
It's crazy because Des Bryant tweeted something out, and I don't want to beat this franchise tag thing with the running backs to death here, but I know how much you love kickers. And this just boggled my mind. The average salary of an NFL running back this year is $1.81 million. The average salary of an NFL kicker in 2023 is $2.26 million. That blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's just insanity.
Yes. It is insanity. Now, those numbers are, I think Des has a great point. And as you said, I mean, you're tickling my heart. I love to just dog kickers, Kara. But it gets weird. And I think every guy who's played in the NFL experiences this, where at some point, if you're not a megastar, which some of these running backs are, but they're kind of being lumped into the normal economics of the league, it's not really about, like, contract sizes are not really about how good you are as a player. And I know that's really strange to hear, but in that league especially, it's like, okay, who we value as the best receiver, just set the market, or the second best receiver. So if we have the best guy, we got to pay him $500,000 more than X, you know, or if we think he's worse, $500,000 less. Where the kickers get lucky because there's so few of them that it's like, okay, if the 2.2 is the standard and I'm an all-pro kicker, you know, I'm now going to be paid 2.7 or whatever. And it's like right now with running backs, there just hasn't been that guy recently that's really reset the market. Now, another one to me, I know he's involved in this, is Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
He has the crazy injury history, but I mean, there's another guy where it's like you look at the Giants. I mean, I understand the franchise tag, and maybe they're, you know, trying to see the injury side of things. But if you lose Saquon Barkley in that offense, it implodes.
Yeah, they live and die
like
by
it's
Saquon.
not like they live and die by him. It's not like the Bills still have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. You know, you have Josh Allen, you're going to win games, even if you don't have Stephon Diggs. Like, the guy's incredible. Daniel Jones is not going to, you know, just flat out take a random cast of characters and win a bunch of games. And the Giants receiving core is not great. Everybody knows that. So that is another strange one to me where I'm like, what are you trying to accomplish here? That one blows my mind as well.
Yeah, that one is the one that sticks out because you would think he would have the most leverage, and it
100%.
would be understood that the Giants, putting the injuries aside, would understand the importance of Saquon. And I think you can apply it to Jacobs in a way in Vegas and Pollard in Dallas, because you're talking you got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's injured in Vegas. You've got Danny Dimes in New York, and you got Dak, who's claiming he's not going to even throw 10 picks this year, even though I think he threw like 15 and 12 starts last year. Like, those guys need running back support. So if Barkley can't get paid, then who is going to get paid in the future? Like, that is what I think is terrifying right now for the running back position. This is why you're seeing, like, collusion among the running backs, because I think Jonathan Taylor tweeted something out yesterday. He would have been included in this.
I didn't see his. Najee Harris was all over.
I think Harris was. I want to say Derrick Henry tweeted something out.
Yeah.
Like, Derrick Henry has been running for 2,000 yards.
And show me a running back that means more to his
year
team
in, year out with
Henry.
Tannehill at quarterback, and this guy can't get paid.
Yeah.
And he's not going to get paid now because they understand he's only going to go downhill from here. Like, he missed his opportunity at huge cash. Crazy. And I don't see how it's going to change.
Agreed. It is a ridiculous thing. And I think that if a run-first team wins the Super Bowl next year, it will change very, very quickly. But until then, I mean, I know that the Eagles last year were obviously close and they had a very good run game. But you think of the Eagles' offense, you know, I think of Jalen Hurts. I think of A.J. Brown. I think of Devonta Smith. Like, I don't really go to that Miles Sanders, you know, thought process until 3 or 4 down the list. Where, again, if there is a team next year that finds a lot of success where it's hey, how did this team win? Defense and, you know, Marshawn Lynch. I do think that will reopen this market into a lot of GMs kind of being like, hey, we need to, you know, we can win a Super Bowl with this blueprint. Where right now it seems like you need a megastar at quarterback and you need a very good wide receiver core. And that's kind of the thing that, you know, is going to propel you from being a playoff team to winning a Super Bowl. I don't know if I'm conveying this message.
No, it makes sense. The league is very cyclical.
That's what they
think.
Sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of people in the front offices that really have the, cojones, if you will, to go against the grain, to kind of stand up and be like, hey, I understand that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are setting the standard, or the Eagles last year, opened a lot of people's eyes with Jalen Hurts and what he was able to accomplish. But that's not like, we also think that we can do it a different way. There's not a lot of people, that are going to really stick their neck out there and be like, let's pay Saquon and let's try and win a Super Bowl. Let's try and compete with the Eagles through our run game and a very good defense, which I think is a mistake personally, but time will tell.
With Luke Willson, so DeAndre Hopkins ends up signing in Tennessee, and the belief was that the Patriots may have been kicking tires, or maybe people were trying to will that into existence, that Belichick would snap out of it and go after him and try to bring some talent to that offense and help out Mac Jones. And it's amazing how Hopkins going to Tennessee, it's leading to Belichick taking shrapnel. At least that's what I'm sensing from a lot of the American media. And, I'm curious where you stand on Belichick now that we're more than a few years out from Brady leaving. Brady's retired now. He's gone. And that division being a beast, with the Jets being what they've got, the Bills, Miami's been a playoff team. Like, where are we at with Belichick and his legacy, and what could be on the line for him this year?
Hayes, again, I got a Hayes and Carey, you guys are tickling my heart today. I appreciate this one.
Yes.
As you know, I spent a year, being coached by Matt Patricia, obviously a Belichick guy. And I do think that his legacy is cemented, with the amount of wins that he has. But I think that to a degree, he is being definitely exposed right now. And I'm not sure if I would pin it all on him as far as, his football knowledge, or more so, the people that he has around him. And my point with that is, you look at Mac Jones like 2 years ago, and this guy, when in his rookie year, you're sitting here and everyone's going, this guy's, going to be incredible. They've got the next Tom Brady, blase. And then all of a sudden McDaniels is gone, and you bring in Matt Patricia, who's historically been a defensive guy. And he's now kind of running the offense, and he basically implodes the whole thing. I mean, it was a bloodbath out there trying to watch. I have no idea what they were trying to do offensively. And where I go with that is, like, how does Bill, who's allegedly kind of got his hands on everything, like, let that happen? Now, I know Matt Patricia has been let go and they're making some changes, but it does kind of beg the question, where was Tom Brady kind of the glue that was holding everything together, that Bill wasn't great at? And the funny thing is, I've spoken to a few Patriots that were on those teams from way back in the day with Bledsoe and then eventually Brady. And the story goes that the team were all about to commit just mutiny against Bill Belichick. That's the rumblings you'd hear in the locker rooms. And then all of a sudden it was like Bledsoe went down, Brady came in, and the rest was history. We all know about, all of the wins that they have there. And my point is, like, I look at all of those wins, and do I sit here and say you can take them away from Bill Belichick? Absolutely not. The guy's going to go down as one of, if not the greatest coaches of all time. But I think it's becoming more and more clear that if you take Tom Brady out of that equation, are they still good at times? 100%. I mean, you saw that with Garoppolo when he came in. You saw that with, Jacoby Brissett played well for them. But are they good enough to win the amount of Super Bowls? I don't think so. And I think that that's kind of showing right now that Bill needs a little more help, and he's maybe not as,
he seems unable to adapt.
As we all thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
doesn't
Karen,
he?
there's no question about that.
It feels like he's stuck in an old mindset of how to coach a team in the NFL, and the NFL has adapted and moved on and evolved, and he's just not evolving with it. And we're seeing all these new wonder kids come in, and he's he's not adjusting. Like, he's still trying to go with old game plans. It's
well,
not
especially
working.
how he builds his team, right? Like, I think you separate Bill Belichick, the coach, and the guy who game plans week in, week out, which I think will still strike fear in any other coach in the league. It certainly should. But, like, his drafting has been poor. Like, them finding talent has been non-existent for years. That's what drove Brady out. He said he's like, I can't do it anymore. You know, and
we thought Mac Jones was going to be a marriage made in heaven when he got drafted. It was like, this is the perfect Bill Belichick guy, and it's been awful.
Not enough weapons, right? And that's a big part of it too, man. So,
and you said it, Kara. I do think he's very slow to adapt. In again, spending time under one of his proteges, it's very tough to go to New England and want to stay there when the last few years they're going 10-7 or whatever. A little above 500, kind of in the hunt, and you get treated like absolute dog the entire year as a player. Everybody knows that you're going to get run directly into the ground in New England. It is no secret. You're going to max out your padded practice days. If it says 3 hours is the max practice, you're going to be practicing for 2 hours, 59 seconds, 59 minutes and 50 seconds every single time. And then you hear your buddies who you've played with that are out in Seattle or somewhere else where they're really looking after the players and they're staying fresh and they're still working hard and they're winning more. You nailed it. You don't want to go there. Tom Brady's not there. If you're DeAndre Hopkins, why would you want to go to New England? If they're not going to throw a crazy amount of money at you, you're going to get run into the ground. You're going to get not treated like you probably used to being treated. The offense is a little stuck in its ways. The whole culture is definitely a little more old school. And then to add on to that, I do think that some of the issues with the NFL and that whole mentality does play into the landscape of college football is changing. You look at NILs, like these kids are getting paid in college. Not all of them, obviously, but it's like you have some kid that's making crazy money in college, kind of doing whatever he wants in that age. You think he's going to survive or thrive, if you will, in a situation in New England? Probably not. So, Kara, I totally agree with the, non-adapting side of the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick.
I would never say that to Belichick's face, though.
A one-on-one interview. Billy, you
much.
are the definition of progressive thoughts and progressive ability.
I think, honestly, if I was offered a one-on-one with Bill Belichick, I think I might say
you might
no.
decline?
Yeah.
I'll
He's
take
the one
it.
guy.
Yeah, listen, you never know. If you get talking anything but football, it'd probably be cool. Like, it'd be great. But you start talking football and Patriots football, you're right. You're probably not going too far. All right, buddy. We'll let you get back at it. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me. Talk soon.
You got it, Luke Willson, our TSN NFL Analyst. Yes, we will. We'll be seeing Luke soon, right?
I appreciate you guys not going into the whole parts and, my partner.
No, we wouldn't do that. We'll save that for September. Yeah. Legitimately, probably the greatest gambling duo of all time.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, facts are facts. I don't know what to tell you. The numbers are what they are.
You look at the competition you guys had.
Yeah.
You gotta
that's also valid too. But still, all you can do is play the games that are on the schedule, and that's precisely what we did. Scott Mitchell coming up from the park. Jays Padres. We'll get to that next. All right, our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. Got to ask Kara about what she has planned later this week.
I got a bunch of golf.
Yeah.
I got 2 more rounds. I played yesterday at Lionhead, and it just tore me apart.
It's a tough place.
The Legends course is just devastating.
Yeah, really, really tough.
So teeing it up at Glen Abbey tomorrow.
Nice.
And then at Wooden Sticks on Thursday.
Look at that. And then what do you have planned for Friday?
God.
I'm not going to say it. You have to be the one
I gotta
announce to the world what you're doing.
I got a little movie shoot. It's a little out of left field, but Mark Sakito and I are going to be the golf broadcast team in a Hallmark movie.
Wow.
Romance movie. I'm actually pretty excited about it because I quite enjoy the Hallmark movies. It is as cheesy as you would expect it to be. It's an LPGA player who falls in love with her pro.
You're kidding. Does she go home?
She does. She goes back home.
Of course she goes home.
All the things on the bingo grid. There's a death in the family.
Yes.
So the job is on the line.
Doesn't like the guy at first, probably.
No.
Right.
They don't get along.
Really, they don't get along. And then there's a connection.
That rekindles.
Yeah. It's
they almost kiss once.
Yes, of course. And then there's a falling out where he's thinking of taking another job.
Yes.
and then they end up rekindling again, and then boom, it's
we all know
perfect,
how it's going to go, but we still watch because they're my guilty pleasure.
Honestly,
anyway.
I didn't know that Hallmark made anything but Christmas movies.
I didn't either.
I had no idea they made golf movies.
They're getting into the sports realm. I'm very
Carol
excited to
Wagland
be
going
part of the foray. Yeah.
So do you have to go on strike after that? Are you supposed to be on strike? I thought Hollywood was on strike.
Oh man, that's a good question.
I don't
know if I should be doing this.
I think you should be on strike personally.
Maybe that's why they came to me, because all the real actors are on strike.
Like, we got to find someone here. All right, Jays Padres tonight. Alek Manoah back on the mound. Let's head down there now. Catch up with our boy Scott Mitchell, our TSN Blue Jay reporter. It was the circus leading up to that Friday in Detroit with Manoah on the mound. It's really quieted down leading into tonight's start. I'm guessing that was their plan. And I would suggest it's probably paid off pretty well here, Scotty. What are you expecting out of Manoah tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see, how he looks against a major league lineup. When you look at, how they kind of squeezed him back in there against Detroit, that was obviously, part of the plan there, because, they're one of the worst offenses in baseball, 28th in WRC plus, well below league average, 28th in runs, 3.5 a game. And, there were some good signs. He looked a lot more confident. I think that's the first thing you notice in that start. He looked like the guy in 2022 that, attacked the zone, threw strikes, wasn't afraid to, kind of attack hitters. And obviously you saw the confidence kind of, just wane as the struggles happened in April and May. And he looked a little better on that front. And, talking to him, this week, he feels like he's in a good spot mechanically. To be honest, looked like he, had some garbage bags on him down in Florida. Looks like, he's a little bit better shape. And, he kind of said that. A lot of conditioning down there, a lot of mechanical work. And, when you look at that start, number of strikeouts, you look at the swing and miss, 11 of them. That's a good sign. But then you look at the velo, you look at the slider, the horizontal break on that. It's kind of the same stuff we've seen. So, with all that being said, really interesting matchup tonight against San Diego. Bunch of lefty, hitters that can do some damage, and that's where he's really struggled. So it's going to be really interesting to see where he looks tonight, or how he looks tonight, because you got a couple more weeks for the trade deadline, and Ross Atkins was on the record saying he thinks rotation is a need. And it's interesting because you could have 6 starters coming back with, Ryu kind of heading that way within the next couple of weeks for sure. So big start for him tonight.
When you have that potential 6-man rotation, Ryu comes back. Obviously, we hope Gosman's healthy. Is there much of a need? Like, there's been a lot of talk about around the trade deadline, maybe the Jays kicking tires on Marcus Stroman. And I mean, we assumed a right-handed bat would be on the wish list, but is there much of a need for pitching right now with as many pitchers as they have going, or is it kind of an upgrade situation?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because, even back in saying that, rotation was a need, talking to people around the game, everyone that I've talked to thinks they're targeting, back of the bullpen guys, another impact arm to pair with Jordan Romano. And, I think that's probably, the top need when it comes to a pitching staff. If you have confidence that Manoah and Ryu are going to look like, historically Manoah and Ryu can, I don't think they have quite that faith at this point. There just hasn't been the track record this year of obviously either pitching and being able to get major league hitters out. So, I think these next couple of weeks for both of these guys are key. And Ryu's going to throw again in AAA on Friday, get up to 80, 85 pitches, and then, potentially could be an option the next turn. And, John Schneider was, kind of on the fence today. They don't want to run a 6-man rotation. It really kind of, throws a lot of the veteran routines off. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. They could bring Ryu up and just spot start him for, a couple turns through the rotation. But, yeah, there's going to be a domino that has to fall, and whether it's an injury, whether it's Kikuchi in the bullpen, whether it's, Manoah getting lit up tonight and, not inspiring much confidence. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. And, yeah, you mentioned the right-handed bat. I think if you're looking for, potentially a surprise splash, I think look at the lineup and the offensive side, maybe second base. But then again, Chad Green is the guy I tweeted about tonight. He's on his road back from PJ. And, if he's anything like the guy that the Yankees had for a couple of years there, he's going to be a big addition. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do at the trade deadline, because there really is no glaring need.
With Scott Mitchell, yeah, that's why you look at their bullpen. Statistically, they've been outstanding lately.
Yeah, the bullpen's been great.
Like really, really good. But I think it's, if you can add arms, like that's where you're going to do it, right? Like the games shrink when you get into September, and certainly once you get into October. Like if you got your third starter in a game 3, if you get to the ALDS, that guy's giving you like 3 innings, maybe, right? Like the more arms you can have, especially power arms, regardless of what the stats look like and how good the bullpen's held up, you can always bolster that. And generally the best teams, that's exactly what they do at the trade deadline.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the interesting part of, how they're going to look at their assets with, a fairly thin minor league system and the needs and kind of balance those. And yeah, look, you look at bullpens across the league, the ones that succeed in late October are the ones that are stacked with big-time power arms. And you mentioned it's impossible to kind of look at this bullpen and really have, huge issues with the performance this year. They've been very, very good, very, very solid. You look at the group now, especially if you include Chad Green in the next few weeks, very, very solid group. But when I look at, playoff caliber bullpens, championship level bullpens, really, I think just another kind of monster at the back of the bullpen with Romano is kind of what you kind of expect a team like this to do at the trade deadline, and just to try to put yourself over the top. And, you look at the pen right now, and especially with Green potentially coming back, it's a good pen, but you have 1 or 2 injuries in September, and all of a sudden that depth isn't there. So it's a really intriguing deadline just because of that, and just because of the way their farm system is set up with not a lot of near-ready help, and the market across the league right now. There's so much parity, and that's what, the owners and players both wanted on either side with, having a number of teams in the race, teams not selling off as quickly as possible. And, it's made for a different kind of storyline heading into, August 1st, because there's just maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sellers, and everyone else is kind of taking these next 2-3 weeks to decide.
Scott Mitchell, our Jays reporter. Jays Padres down at the Dome tonight. Kara mentioned the Marcus Stroman rumors. What do you make of that? The idea of this front office, Atkins and Shapiro, who were here when he left town the first time, being open to the idea of bringing Marcus Stroman back.
Yeah, look, I've been around here for a while, and I would be absolutely stunned. And I look at that report, and look, the Blue Jays would like everyone in the AL East to think they're in on Marcus Stroman. Oh, we'd love to have him back. Drive that price up, baby. I can't see a fit here in the clubhouse. I can't see a fit in the rotation with what you'd have to give up to get him, even though he's a free agent. I'm not lending, much credence to that in terms of, potentially a Stroh reunion. It's just, the things ended poorly here. He wasn't the type of guy that they wanted in that clubhouse. And, maybe you could say, things have changed and, for a 2-month rental. But I just have a hard time envisioning it. And, it screams, hey, let's let everyone know that, we're potentially open to it, just so our rivals, don't get a little bit of a deal on the prospect price.
Well, I mean, Shapiro and Atkins, historically, their MO is kind of they don't really leak a whole lot and let everyone know what's really going on. So my theory is maybe they're putting the Marcus Stroman stuff out there as a little bit of a cover for the real fish they're going after, which maybe should be Shohei Ohtani, that I say kind of tongue-in-cheek. So I ask you, which of the following situations are the Jays likely, very likely, or only a little likely to acquire Shohei Ohtani?
Is there an unlikely choice there?
Come on,
not in my mind.
Come on.
We are looking at all the hope in the world right now here on OverDrive.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, the one thing I look at is, when you look at their needs and you look at the farm system, something tells me we're going to have a little bit of a surprise splash because this team in this front office is all in. I don't think it's Ohtani.
But probably not a cannonball like Ohtani.
I don't think I'd rule it out completely, just because, hey, like, if you want to empty the farm system out, if you want to meet their asking price, if you want to outbid other teams, I think there's the possibility you could do it. I think you're mortgaging a lot of your future. And when you hear, Mark Shapiro over the last 5 years talk about, sustainable winning, it would really go against this front office's MO to do that. But hey, you want to empty it out and send Ricky Tiedemann and Aurelvis Martinez and a roster player or two and a lower level flyer. You could do it if you wanted to.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah. Listen,
I wouldn't rule it out. Yeah, I wouldn't. I think crazier things have happened. And look, just this team is, and this core, and this, the idea right now is to win a World Series, and Shohei Ohtani would give you a much better chance of doing that. And the way this team's played over the last 6-7 weeks, with the best record in the American League, with them being a second half team over the last couple of years, I wouldn't rule it out. All I would say is that it mortgages quite a bit of the future, because he's probably not re-signing here. So
no.
It's unrealistic, but I wouldn't totally rule it out.
No, I'm not bracing for it.
Hope.
Yeah, I'm not bracing for it. I'm not expecting it, but I have been making the case all week, and I will continue to make the case for why this is the perfect time to do it. For so many different reasons, including what they built towards, what the rest of the American League looks like. You're coming out of a pandemic. You got a packed house anyway. The guy's a unicorn. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I understand the way Shapiro and Atkins are wired. That's why I'm not bracing for it. But if it happened, I think it would be unanimously accepted as a positive move.
I don't think anybody is against that.
But even the most baseball America freak that's like, well, you can't do that because even that guy will be like, nah, I'm willing to head down and see Ohtani as a Blue Jay. Even that guy who loves Tiedemann and the guy hasn't pitched yet, right? That guy, I think, would get behind.
Who already has his Aurelvis Martinez jersey ready to go.
Martinez would be the greatest, player in Blue Jay history. Even that guy can get behind it. So,
yeah, look, I think if the idea is to win a World Series, and here's what I will say. If Shohei Ohtani is on the market, which it looks like he's going to be, the Blue Jays will make calls. They're not going to be a team that's going to sit that market out. They're going to make calls and see if they can, stick their nose in there. It's just when you look at, what the Dodgers could offer, obviously, maybe they're not going to trade him there, as, the rumors of Artie Moreno say. But, when you look at the, system of the New York Yankees, you look at, some of the systems of, contenders that are potentially going to be in there, they can beat the package that the Blue Jays offer. And, it's a tough sell in terms of, that sustainable winning. But, hey, man, he fits everything you want. He's going to start game one of every playoff series for you. He's a left-handed bat, a DH that you can easily, shoehorn into this the middle of this lineup. And, yeah, I mean, look, you get Shohei Ohtani, you're probably the World Series favorite along with the Atlanta Braves.
That's right.
I don't think anyone would be panning it in the city. I know I wouldn't.
No, for sure.
Prospect hugging sometimes doesn't get you very far. And, someone actually, found one of my old tweets from a few years ago, outlining what's in the system, and it was Jordan Groshans and Aurelvis and, a number of names that haven't made that impact. And you know what? You have an opportunity to win a World Series, and the Blue Jays potentially do over these next 3 years. I wouldn't rule it out. Yep,
I'm with you, Scotty. Enjoy it down there, buddy. We'll do it again soon. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Scott Mitchell, our Jays reporter. Jays Padres tonight, not ruling it out.
Hey, listen, I was looking for 2% hope, and he gave me 2.5%.
Yeah, he did.
So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yep, I'm with you on that. We'll get to our best bets brought to you by FanDuel. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Jays money line tonight, you're getting plus money. That's because Manoah's on the mound. Jays have been hot. Probably FanDuel expecting come back down to earth a little bit. Padres, they're a decent team. Very underwhelming this year.
No, but they can make some noise. They have great pitching staff.
And Musgrove's on the mound, right? So
they have Musgrove. I think Blake Snell. Darvish has been, whatever, but they got Blake Snell game 3, and he's been having a real nice season.
Yep. But plus money, Jays at home. I'm on it. Manoah under 4.5 total Ks tonight. And Baltimore at home against the Dodgers. This is a big game. It's probably the game of the night in Major League Baseball.
That's an interesting one.
You got to pay a little bit of juice, but Wells been good for the Orioles on the mound, and there's some guy named Grove on the mound for the Dodgers. I know you're a fantasy player. Not in my wheelhouse.
I
Dodgers
don't
on the
know
road.
that I'm... Michael Grove.
Yeah.
Nah.
I'm on the Orioles tonight, money line. A little bit of juice, understandably, playing a very good team. But Baltimore's a really good team, and they've been red hot lately. I'm on Baltimore money line tonight, minus 124. Today's best bets powered by FanDuel. The first inning means as much as the ninth when you bet baseball on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. Must be 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. We'll have our Open Championship picks tomorrow.
That'll
Can't
be
say
fun.
British Open. Not allowed.
No, don't call it the British Open.
Not allowed to say British Open. How
The
dare
Open
you?
Championship.
Although we say Canadian Open. Why don't we just say Open, like our Open Championship?
I think it starts getting a little muddy, a little confusing if everyone's just calling it the Open.
Yeah, but if it's our Open,
Do we call it the Open Final?
we could do that.
We need something that we can sub in for championship. Although we're not a major, so it
Yeah, which
makes it difficult. You can't really pump it up to it.
I know. We got to get it there. We got to get it there. This year was good, though.
The
right?
Maple Open?
Nick Taylor option. I like it.
I don't know.
Maybe just the Canadian
Spitballing.
Open.
maybe we leave it as it is.
Stupid idea, and we'll end it there, and it's the Canadian Open. Just like it's the U.S. Open. But it can't be the British Open. It's only the Open Championship.
Well,
So picks on that tomorrow.
British people are a little different sometimes.
Yeah. Steve
That's okay.
Sands coming up from Royal Liverpool tomorrow. So Sands will join us. We look forward to that. Kara,
Beautiful.
great seeing you.
Thanks
as
for
always.
having me. This is fun. It's nice to come and talk a little baseball
Always
during
great
the
to
summer.
see
Break
you.
it up.
Yeah, good luck on the course. Good luck in front of the camera, too.
Thank
Your
you.
acting career being launched on Friday.
Hope to not crash and burn.
Yes. Best of luck with that.
Thank you.
There it is.
Appreciate
Kara
it.
Wagland. All right. Great seeing Kara. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes, everyone for tuning in today. We appreciate it. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.